Hello everyone, and welcome to this video about nature-inspired techniques, specifically about computer science. This video was created by Christos Mina and Andreas Christodoulou. As I've already mentioned, today we're going to talk about nature-inspired techniques, which is in short mimicking nature. So the basic principle is we observe nature, and maybe a species does something unique in a special way, and we try to understand how and why the species does it, and try our best to copy it or mimic it. In this video we are going to explain an algorithm about WSN, but before we get there we are going to understand why ants and migratory birds are awesome. It is spectacular how ants manage to find their way back home once they found some food. It sounds almost impossible that a single ant can do such a thing, yet it is very common. Actually, let me rephrase it. It's impossible for a single ant to do such a thing. The key here is that they work as a team of many. The basic principle is that when ants move, they release pheromones and they can sense them, and because of this, it's easy for them to find their way back to the hive. The stronger the pheromones, the easier. But how do pheromones get stronger? Well, the more the ants travel through a specific path, the stronger the pheromones get on that path. So stronger pheromones on a path means that more ants could be using that path, and as they do so every time, they create new paths, and after some time they create one final path, which is almost the shortest path from the hive to the source of food. Okay, now a second example is the one about migratory birds. Same principle with the ants. One bird cannot fly from one pole of the earth to the other. This is done as a team. When migratory birds fly, they do it in a formation, and this is because it is efficient to do so. Let me explain. The outer birds in the formation are the ones that do most of the work, since they flap their wings and they create the current that carries the rest of the birds. This means that the inner birds do some work as well, but not as much. It is logical to think that the outer birds get tired more easily and the inner birds are resting because they are just doing very little work. Once the outer birds get tired, they swap positions with the inner birds, so their roles are reversed. And this is how migratory birds achieve long distance travels efficiently. They basically swap positions to minimize the work each one of them has to do. Okay, now what does this have to do with computer science? Well, let's look at wireless sensor networks, or for short WSN. A network is a way for a device, maybe a PC or a mobile phone, to communicate with other similar devices and exchange information. In WSN, the devices are very small. We are going to call them nodes. They are like mini computers and they have a lot of limitations. Their main purpose is to receive or detect information through their sensors. This information can be temperature, light, moisture, or anything else. Once they detect it, they send it to one of their neighbor nodes, and this keeps on going until they reach the final node, which we call the sink. Once the information goes to the sink, we can access it. In WSN, there are two main problems. We want information to go to the sink the fastest, and we don't want to overload the work each node has to do, because it might die, and we can potentially lose a large segment of the network. To achieve this, in the algorithms that we designed to receive and send information, we follow three rules. The first is we want our final goal to be the sink. The other two are the ones that fix the two main problems, and to do so we mimic ants and migratory birds. Like the ants, we try to find the destination, and as we do, we leave behind something. This could be the size of the total information received by each node. This means that a lot of information follows a correct path. Path is the sequence in which we visit each node. As we do so, we find new paths and we try to make them as short as possible. If we only use this, however, some nodes might die, so we now have to mimic migratory birds. If we see that the node has received a lot of information, we disable it. It's like we swap the roles of the nodes, and the new paths cannot pass through that node. Once the information is evenly distributed among all the nodes, or a lot of the nodes, we enable the previously disabled nodes. This is the main idea for an efficient algorithm in wireless sensor networks. And finally, thank you for watching this video.